The rusty ladder leads to the rooftop. On second thought, the rusty ladder leads to the rooftop. All you need to do is close your eyes and concentrate. Darkness enfolds you. You can feel the distance between the bench and the first rung. Zoot, zap, pow, crinkle. It's like magic. You feel yourself disappear. Your atom.
Oh my god, I can't believe it.
Bam! You find yourself on the roof, having mastered the art of physical displacement.
You know, for the record, you didn't teleport there. You just climbed the ladder with your eyes closed.
The wind at the top of the building starts howling loudly, blowing away the lieutenant's voice. Faintly you hear.
Never mind. Find a way to let me in when you get inside. Don't go adventuring with a backup, especially if we think the suspect may be hiding here.
Two rusty metal plates that slide apart form a crude door. It's been here under the boardwalk for a while.
What do you mean, who's there? It's me, Kim. Stop playing around and help me get the door open.
The doors seem to be on rails, but they've gotten jammed. You grab a side and put some strength into prying it open. With the help of your partner, the two metal panels.
I hope no one dangerous heard that. Yes, time to investigate these passages. Let's move quietly and not make more sound.
Not running is a great way. A mustachioed and mutton-chopped man, amateurishly depicted, gazes at you with sad eyes. A plaque reads, K. Mazov. There is a spider web in the lower left corner of the portrait. Years' worth of dust is shaken off. The full head of hair, matched by an ample moustache and sideburns, look a bit silly.
Yes. Looks like some latter-day radicals were hiding out here. They left a long time ago. Half a century? This was probably part of the network of defense posts the communards built against the amphibious landing. I think the purpose of this bunker was to produce propaganda. It would have had radio equipment back then, but that's all been looted. We have found a lot of those lately. I guess what most people think of as history tends to linger in rundown neighborhoods. Martinez being what it is, no one has gone through the trouble of cleaning out the old bunker.
Good hiding place for someone who's up to no good.
I won't stand in your way, but only after we're through with this case. You mean like Ruby? No, I think we've stumbled on a piece of history.
Could this have been the killer's hideout? And this narrow window, the point of origin of the shot that killed the mercenary? Outside the window, the day is clear, and as mild as can be in early spring.
It's a great place to hide, and Mazovianism and murder are certainly not mutually exclusive. But there hasn't been anyone here in ages. Indeed. No one could get a clear view. Well, at least we've been thorough. I like thorough. In fact, I think we're done with this bunker. After you, officer.
There it is again, like a swarm of hornets buzzing under your scalp. A strange tingling you can almost smell.
No, what do you mean? I don't feel it, but we should still be careful. There were footprints back there, and I'm pretty sure they were fresh. Looks like our suspect. If she's in here, we need to plan our next step carefully. Once we detain a credible suspect, who knows what the Union and the Wild Pines will do? We'll set in motion events we have no control over.
You will upset the balance of power in Martinez. The deadlock between the company and the Union. This part of town is a fine clockwork puzzle. Disturb its peace and it will start breaking down. Keep calm. Go over the whole situation in detail.
We absolutely cannot skip that appointment. Consider that 100% confirmed. I fear you'll need your gun for this.
His hand rests on his holster. It's not enough. You need a gun in your hand too. Your gun.
I still don't think that was a good idea. But yes, our affairs with the Wild Pines are in order, since she isn't in Martinez anymore.
Someone's been a very busy boy. Good on you.
I leave that to your judgment. You already know what I think about cross-pollinating information like this. It's dangerous.
He just can't be sure. Maybe it will yield something useful.
Well, we are not responsible for what we can't predict, are we? I don't think the entire city will be razed to the ground.
If you can't predict it, there's nothing you could have done.
I think I see a cavern. Maybe more cellars? I think we've been careful enough. We still have the element of surprise.
I wouldn't be so sure. You haven't exactly been sneaking.
Or maybe not. Either way, once we go deeper, there will be no turning back.
bed is comforting. The worn and beaten.
We can sit on benches after we've solved the murder. Let's go.
You can revisit the bench if you ever need to pass the time when Lieutenant Kitsura...
The face of King Freesel's comrade, but like the only four, perhaps they've so please, if you value our radical Mazovian perspective on contemporary politics.
What do you expect? It was laying around the office of the Debarders Union.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. This section, you also face it. You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents. It takes a... Why? Obviously, it evokes. As you leaf through this, the main feature, though, is a long essay titled Tip Top Talk. You think you're instead, where to even so, all of it, basically. And that precisely is, at the end of the day, it's the destruction of these. You see, one cannot avoid the conclusion that Tip Top Tourney is simply the apotheosis of spectacular entertainment under capitalism.
I can safely say the thought had never crossed my mind, Detective. You can still like it, Detective. Just because a couple of fools wrote an article doesn't mean if I had...
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents. Unsurprised, you skim that. Finally, there's a brief article by the writer, G. Martin, accusing the owner of the Cape Side Apartments of illegally the eternal problem. Thus, is that true? You flip back to the front of the magazine. You hold in your hand the colorful primer.
Good. I also know the alphabet.
The alphabet. The alphabet. Every page has one word designate. A is for H is for homeboy. I is for econ. Q is for quasar. R is... That's it. You know the alphabet now. Every page has one. A. H is for homeboy. Q is... That's it. You know the alphabet now. You stare at the now familiar black and white, the back cover. She can't be much older than her mid-30s. In cold, detached prose, the author describes a scene from one of the Yugo-Grad as ethnic. It would physically hurt you to keep reading. You've made the right life choices today, sir. The Insulindian Miracle. It's easy. You know the poem by heart because you were taught it at school. It is one of the Volta Dolmar mantras, repeated on the voyage that lead to the discovery of the Insulindian Isola. And the words mean, nothing will be changed about the light. Colors like gray and brown, all printed on top of each other. I found a blank white spot. All the others looked up. What a beautiful day. What beautiful weather.
still here. Stuck in this damn jam, my man.
Wait, there's something here, stored away in some dusty corner. It starts like...
Whoa. What else? Silent communion. That's good. Dang, that's some great shit. You came up with that yourself.
Or did you learn it in school? More importantly, who can prove if you did? Go with it. You deserve some acclaim.
Fucking A. Seems I got you all wrong. Cops aren't much known for their artistic sensibilities these days. It's good to meet a fellow poet. Someone with an appreciation for real text. The others here, so you don't really get it. Yeah, I guess I owe you an apology for thinking otherwise. And again, great shit.
Shine on these sunglasses lasts a lifetime, officer.
No luck.
The shine on these sunglasses lasts a lifetime. Oh, very interesting choice, officer. Very high culture.
This is how a sea monster sees the world. You've become a sea monster, Harry. Giant, hidden, and strangely tender at heart. All is blue. All right, but these actually make your vision worse. It's like literally being underwater. Yes, but they also make your soul quiver like jello. So
Wow, officer. You look so cool. And they can be yours for a mere 3 real. My regular customers have passed them all up because they've got no taste. But you found them.
the lieutenant tilts his head and steps back, eyes narrowed in a thorough examination. It's a case to him.
You look like a musician. Like a blind musician. But you could do worse. Take them if you want.
You keep coming back. That's good, officer. Keep browsing those clothes. Keep saving that economy. Everything's still cool here, officer.
The face of King Fleece. This section, you also face it. You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. Comrade, but like only 4, perhaps, so please. If you value our radical you flip back to the front. This section, you also face it. You flip back to the front of the. It takes a. Why? They obviously it evoke. As you leaf through. The main feature, though, is a long essay titled "This So-Called Artist Spotlight." You think instead, where to even so all of it, basically. Under capital. Thus, the so-called and that precise. At the end of the day, it's the destruction of these 750,000 real. Sure, that's because you haven't been reading critically, but don't worry.
Oh, come on. Can this article read your mind? A certain kind of... If I had to...
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents. It takes a... Why? Obvious. It evokes. As you leaf through. The main feature, though, you flip back to the front of the magazine. Unsurprised. You skim. Finally, there's a brief article by the writer, G. Martin, accusing the owner of the Cape Side. One of the editorial. Sounds like their bodies just haven't been crushed. You flip back to the front of the magazine. Unsurprised, you skim the head. Finally, there's a brief art. According to these absolute, it goes on to. You flip back to the front of the magazine. Unsurprised, you skim the headlines. Finally, there's a brief article by the writer, G. Martin, accusing the owner of the writer. Good thing you flip back to the front of the magazine. Unsurprised, you skim the head. Finally, there's a brief article by the writer, G. Martin, accusing the eternal. Thus, they is. You flip back to the front of the magazine. The tape. You stare at the now familiar, in cold, the Yugo Gra as ethnic. It would physically hurt you to keep reading. Are you sure? They go through a brief and he toils through the daily drudgery. She spends the memory of their short time spent together tortures the former lovers. As life leaves their remains between the back cover is dominated. She can't be much older than her mid-30s in this photograph. And you hold in your hand the colorful primer. Every A is H is for homeboy. Q, that's it. You know the alphabet now. Every page as one word designated, of course, of every page. A, H is Q, that's it. You know that. Every page as A, H is for Q, that's it. You know the alphabet now. Every page as one word designating one letter of the alphabet. A is for azimuth. B, H is for homeboy. Q, that's it. You know the alphabet.